So TDD, what we want to do is have a create user API and then systematically return error in case of errors, and want to be writing some test associated with it. So for this, let's add our dependencies. This error, yeah, this error should be sufficient for this example. Um, what we need is certain validation on our user. For example, we have a struct called user, and we are creating a new type on username. Similarly for email. Now let's create struct username and struct email. Correct. Let's have an API. So something like this, but let's add a to do over here, and this should be returning us result of user or boxed in error. Perfect. We'll have it should be a username, it should be an email. So it this function will be called from a API endpoint. So create user router, which will take a username of type stir and email of type stir, and this shall be returning you a result of user box in error. And let's give it a to do as well. Okay, now the TDD part. So let's create a function. Function would be test create user, um, test create user. Perfect. Test create user. Let's instead try for test create user router, and hmm, let's create an API for fn test create user. Perfect. So we want to be having a function called create user router. We'll give it a user and email, and our assertion should be it should fail is error. Here we want something like username should be 5 characters at least, email should be a valid email, and mm, the entry should not be in DB. Right. So valid email should be text at the rate text.com. Essentially contains at the rate and has cares on left and right. Username should be, yeah, perfect. So this is error. um, then we'll have this is also an error. Then we'll have this is also an error. So the only valid case would be Prakash, and email would be prakash at email.com. This should be an okay, right? Let's format document. Correct. Okay. So what we want is for validation at the constructor end. Let's have a struct username error, which takes in a string. Similarly, have a struct email error. This should implement derive debug and error, and here username error. Perfect. Similarly, have derive debug and error and email error. Perfect. So so good so far. Now we'll start here. So let's create the new APIs. So impl username, right? fnu. This looks, yeah, good to me. But before that, we might want to do something like let username equals to trim. Okay, so we're handling this case and this case right now. Similarly, let's implement email, and we have a function. Yep. Okay, so uh, let's generalize the email message. So in email address or email dot split at the rate, yeah, wait for it, dot map f dot f dot length equals to f dot trim dot length, right? Hmm. Hmm. So this is good. Email. So this should make sure, yeah, this case is not here, and f length is greater than 1. right? Yeah, and here we want something like this: email dot split at the rate dot hmm, count is not equals to 2, and this is also fine. No, we can do something like this: map dot count is not equals to true. So this dot all have correct. So f has to be, yeah. If this is not the case, and email dot split at the rate dot count is not equals to 2. Yeah. Um, we don't need this. Hmm. So this is good. Um, Now create user. So I think this should wait. We don't need any validations. We can have a few username dot. Yeah, this is good. Okay, let's do a cargo test now. Okay, one running and one passed. And if we say, let's say this is okay, it should fail. Fail. Perfect. Okay, and if we do something like this should also fail. Failed. Perfect. Okay, that's it. That was my bit for TDD.